I'm Michael Roper from Architecture, and I'm presenting our latest project, Sunday. It's a 2-bedroom house for a middle-aged couple with no children. The existing house is a workers' cottage on Fitzroy Street in Fitzroy on a site of just 175 square metres. You can see Fitzroy Street to the front of the property here and a right-of-way wrapping around to the rear there. The original floor plan had a number of issues. One is very compromised back outdoor area overlooked by all of the neighbours, some rather awkward and kind of unusable living areas, and 2 front rooms that are both also dark and a bit unusable for any kind of activity outside of sleeping time. The new floor plan, our clients wanted a house that felt open and airy, with a focus on cooking, entertaining, writing, painting, and connecting to the outdoors. It's comprised of a 70 square metre main house at the front, a 25 square metre main bedroom pavilion at the back with the ensuite, and a 30 square metre courtyard in between, which was located really to maximise, rather than a backyard right at the back, maximising access to natural light to both the living areas and the main bedroom area. In addition, we have the kitchen garden, which is providing natural light to the sunken lounge, to the kitchen, to the guest bathroom, and to the study and guest area. The main bedroom and ensuite is separated from the house, providing much needed differentiation for the living zones, which is otherwise difficult on such a small site. So accessing the main bedroom requires going outside across this outdoor courtyard. We acknowledge that this wouldn't be for everyone, but the clients really enjoy that sense of being connected to the weather and the outdoors, and that sense of genuine retreat that you get from stepping outside and crossing that courtyard. So a quote from the clients: "We live in our whole house now, inside and out. Before, there were whole rooms of the house we barely entered. Now the house feels like a single continuous space, every corner of which has both purpose and beauty." So in a built-up environment, we face the challenge of how to create a house that enjoyed privacy from its context. You can see that it's a densely built area with overlooking from rear and side neighbours. This section shows how we've used the mass of the rear pavilion to protect the house and yard from overlooking from rear neighbours. And this is a photo from through the back door from the right of way, where you can really see how that courtyard is really nested right into the heart of the house. This section here shows how the northern neighbour looms over the site and its relationship to our clerestory window, which cuts right across the extension. And we've used a fluted glass across the length of this extension all the way through the living areas and across the courtyard, as you see there, to obscure the views of the neighbour to the north, while simultaneously permitting that northern light all the way through the house. And here we see the intersection of these two gestures: the nested courtyard in the middle of the house and the obscure clerestory glazing which passes across it. We wanted to create a home where occupants can always find a place of comfort: social spaces and private spaces, generous spaces and intimate spaces, spaces to gather and spaces to retreat. It was a challenge to differentiate these spaces on such a small plot. Nevertheless, this plan diagram shows how the house has been zoned to achieve it. So we have 3 north-south bands which establish the main realms of the house: the communal area, the outdoor area, and the private area. And we have 2 east-west bands which further divide each of these realms into 2 halves. One generous, not really halves, they're third and 2/3, one generous and one intimate. And here we see the floor plan again, showing the resolution of this diagram: communal, outdoor, and private, generous and intimate, a matrix of spaces interconnected across 2 axes, across the length of the extension and across the width of the extension. So every space is kind of stitched into each of the others in some way. So here we have communal and generous, with high raked ceilings for the shouty part of the evening. Next to it, communal and intimate, a quieter space with low ceilings for cups of tea and nightcaps. We have outdoor and generous with its high roof canopy and an outdoor room open to the sky. And we have outdoor and intimate, which brings the texture of the garden into focus. We have private and generous, and here we see how the breeze blocks have been used to demarcate zones while at the same time permitting light, breeze and connection. And we have private and intimate, where low ceilings and narrow walls bring us back into our bodies. Our clients came to us with architectural reference points of their own, and of course, so did we. Virginia grew up in a Paul Cooch house where she developed an affinity for robust materials, muted palettes, clear geometries, and sculptural light. And again, a quote from the clients: "We like simple materials and scale and solidness. We don't have kids, but we like houses that feel unbreakable." Sophie is an author and spent some time in Sri Lanka researching for a book where she came to admire the work of Geoffrey Bawa. She wanted a house of louvers, airflow and openness, connected to the landscape with materials that would patina. Heidi too was a personal influence, with the sunken lounge a clear reference point. And Boyd House too, with a roof plane connecting the sleeping pavilion back to the main house. Similarly at Sunday, the express structure and clerestory glazing continues across the length of the extension, connecting the two parts. While travelling Mexico, our clients fell in love with Louis Barragan's use of colour. We were asked to feature yellow somewhere in the house. The two sunken elements, the bath and the lounge, speak to each other across the courtyard in yellow. And here we see how these references come together. Robust materials, clear geometries, connection with the outdoors, a continuous roof plane across the courtyard, as you can see in this lower area here, and of course, the yellow. We always seek to deeply understand our clients and to create something that is specific to them. We're proud of this project and what it means to the people who live there. And another quote from them to finish: "We gave the team at AA a handful of loose bits of inspiration and disconnected thoughts, and they've made something that feels so specific to us that it's like we dreamed it into existence." Sophie and Virginia.